Hello, my name is Jennifer Chapman, and welcome to my poster presentation titled Access to Justice, the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, in the Role of Australian Libraries. This study examined how Australian libraries, librarians, and LIS programs are helping to implement and promote the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, which I'll refer to as the SDGs in this presentation. Specifically, I examined how Australian libraries and associations are helping to promote and implement Goal 16, which focuses on access to justice. Access to information is a significant part of access to justice, meaning libraries have a vital role to play in ensuring individuals have access to justice through access to legal information and resources. In order to examine how Australian libraries are supporting the SDGs in Goal 16, I performed a systemic review of literature, library association reports, and conference proceedings and events from 2016 to 2019. These dates were chosen to encompass literature, proceedings, and events following the 2015 implementation of the SDGs. This included a review of major Australian library associations, such as the Australian Library and Information Association and Australian Library and Law Journals. 5 associations were examined and 11 journals were reviewed. The results were 2 journal articles, 4 library association reports and conference proceedings, and 4 events that examined the SDGs and specifically Goal 16. Prominently, the Australian Library and Information Association held a Sustainable Development Goals Summit in 2018 and even added a section to the association's constitution endorsing the SDGs. Despite these efforts, my review reveals that libraries and associations are discussing how they can help promote and implement the SDGs and Goal 16, but to date have not put into action meaningful ways to do so. Based on the findings of this study, I suggest the following steps. First, collaboration. Public, academic, and law libraries need to collaborate on finding ways to build relationships and share resources and knowledge. How might this look? A law librarian could provide training on finding legal resources to public librarians, or even hold programs in public libraries for patrons. A law school could collaborate with a public library system to create a legal reference clinic for public patrons. Additionally, Australian libraries should look at non-library SDG-focused projects for potential collaborations. For example, inspired by the SDGs, the Australian Human Rights Commission is examining employment discrimination against older Australians and Australians with disabilities. Libraries and LIS programs could assist in the research and help examine ways to promote employment of older Australians and Australians with disabilities. Second, outreach. Libraries, librarians, and LIS programs must reach out to patrons and the community to understand what their legal information needs are, so programs and information resources can be tailored to patron needs. LIS programs should look at how they are training future librarians to meet the varied information needs of patrons. As laws and regulations get more complex, as legal information gets more difficult to find or goes behind paywalls, librarians, regardless of whether they are law librarians or not, will need to know how to best assist patrons in finding necessary legal resources. And third, advocacy. Libraries, librarians, and LIS programs must advocate to government and legal entities to ensure legal and justice-related information is accessible. Library associations with already existing government advocacy arms are well situated to advocate on better legal information and access to justice issues. They should tap into this experience. From a research perspective, I would like to expand on my review in order to better understand how Australian libraries are or are not meeting the access to information and access to justice needs of Australian citizens. For example, it would be interesting to perform a review of literature, conferences, and events focused on access to justice issues that were published or held prior to implementation of the SDGs. This would help reveal if the SDGs inspired libraries to think more about access to justice, or if libraries were already discussing these issues. Australian libraries, librarians, and LIS programs are uniquely situated to provide the type of information access that will lead to meaningful change and effectuate access to justice. This will go a long way in helping Australia meet the SDGs, specifically Goal 16. My study ultimately reveals that these issues are being discussed, but now it is time for Australian libraries, librarians, and LIS programs to actually implement meaningful action. Thank you for your time, and I welcome any questions or comments or ideas for expanding this research. Thank you.